pass through the area, Megawatt Matt Watson, and probably a good decision for these little machines as the gate is down. A fresh, wet racetrack, but they're all faced with the same thing as they head into that first turn. And who's it going to be out front? We see that number 36 getting a good line on the inside. Did he get pushed off? It was actually Oliver Camp getting the hole shot. Austin Schaefer, the 36, will come across the stripe in second. Crew Ketton in third aboard the 42, the 44 of Dan and Reed. But keep an eye on the number 4 of Fowler's. He's already made his way into the number 1 spot as we head down the long short chutes under the Red Bull Arch, and now head toward that Cometic Gasket corner. Yeah, wow, look at the water in those ruts.
Yes, standing water. In a matter of 30 minutes here, we went from the most amazing race conditions you've ever seen to a mutter at Loretta's for the final moto here. And what we're going to have to be careful with these little bikes, going to have to watch the air boxes, going to have to watch the ignitions, going to have to watch. These guys did not have time to tape things up.
Exactly.
They did not prepare for a mud race. Luckily, they had just enough time maybe to swap out goggles, add some few extra tear-offs, or maybe put roll-offs on in the extra 5 minutes they had, but they are not prepared for a mutter with the rest of the equipment.
Well, we'll see how and who holds up, as we've got one little mud rider out there that obviously feels very at home on this Loretta Lynn's racetrack in these conditions. Oops, we got one. I believe he actually got held up on the inside of that turn as he was pressuring Fowler for that number 1 spot. That might have been Camp trying to fire back there. Let's see as we head out of the Storyland now. Wow, what an amazing difference 30, 40 minutes can make. Our 45 plus were caught out there in the rain, and now the 65cc have to deal with what Mother Nature has left behind. And now we see that 28 machine working his way up. I believe that was a 28, if I was reading that properly.
Yeah, 28. These guys are still hucking that thing and just absolutely sending these bikes all over the course. Despite the standing water out there, despite these slick takeoffs, these guys are going for it right now, man. This is awesome.
Nate Hummel is who we're watching right now. Hummel coming into this one, he's ranked 13th, seated 13th with an 11 and 16, but look how well he performs out here in these conditions. He was probably one of those riders that said, oh yeah.
You know, there was a bunch of them down there like, yes.
Especially maybe some of those woods riders. There's a lot of off-road riders that are racing motocross as well, so you know those woods riders, especially the ones that raced this spring, certainly accustomed to riding in these conditions, there's no doubt.
Oh yeah, any of the Northeast guys, trust me, they get to see lots of rain, you know, and they have a similar style dirt, so no stranger to a lot of these kids. Some of these guys get an 1.5 to 2 inch rainfall annually.
Yeah, and I think in Fowler, an Ohio boy too. If I'm not, PA. So yeah, so he's a Northeasterner.
Sure, he's used to this.
Oh yeah, Nate Hummel back there in the number 2 spot. Will McCure, the 96 in 3rd. Alvin Hillen in 4th. Austin Schaefer in 5th at the end of 1. Canyon Richards in 6th. Colby Goff, the 45 in 7th. Tyler Mollett in 8th. Oliver Camp dropping to 9th place position. We see he was the Hole Shot Award winner there. Crew Kenton, the 92 in 10th. Cannon Hartgrove is 11th. Clark Robbins 12th. Colt Golombeski is 13th. Cole Timbo in 14th. And Deacon Dino rounds out the top 15.
Man, Rodney, I just cannot believe back there through that Bell Moto Forest, incredible amount of water standing back there. I'm telling you, almost wheel deep back there. And look at Fowler. I mean, it's wheel deep back there, Rodney.
Yeah.
It's wheel deep.
It's wheel deep.
So these guys having to deal with all kinds of stuff here on the course. And right now, if anybody has any word on Ed Walston, man, let us know what's up with our buddy. Took a big hit over there in the last Moto 450, senior 40 plus, and hope he's okay. Send a shout out to him. And if anybody has any idea on his condition, let us know. Give us an update, please.
Yeah, certainly like to know what transpired after that. And as we continue here, 4 minutes now, almost 5 minutes into this 3rd and final and the final moto of 2019 here at Loretta Lynn's. Luke Fowler, clean number plate still. He was one of the front runners coming around that first turn, so he didn't take on a lot of splash, and he's got clear numbers all the way around as far as this bike is concerned, and looks like clear racetrack. It's a little muddy, but there's nobody ahead of him right now. Line choices are all his. But look behind him. Is that still Hummel back there, or is that Will McCure?
Well, good to hear. Our buddy Ed Walston, possibly a broken rib, not a femur, not a hip. So,
yeah, he'd have never heard the end of it next year if he'd have broke a hip.
No. We'd have been on him. He'd had to get a works hip, full titanium, you know, and we'd have protested him. So, yeah.
Wow, look at Alvin Hillen now. Alvin Hillen rising to the occasion as he is putting pressure now on the 96 of Will McCure. Bowser's through, Nathan Hummel is through, and actually Hummel turning a little bit faster lap time, about 3/4 of a second faster. So there's now 1 second separating the 4 and the 28. 7 seconds back to Alvin Hill in the 22. Now in third, Will McCure drops to fourth, who's now nearly 2 seconds back of that. Canyon Richards in fourth aboard the number 16. Kobe Goff is your 6th place ride. Austin Schaefer in 7th, and waiting on 8th, 9th, and 10th to check in. We had Mullet, Camp, and Ketton. Now we got Robbins, Kenton, and Golubeski rounding out your top 10.
I'll tell you what, man, these gaps look very similar to a dry track to me. The racing looks very similar to a dry track. These guys absolutely not letting it deter the effort. And right now, as you can see, Fowler just picking his way through, still splashing water out of that main line lap after lap after lap. Feet come off the peg right there a little bit. Regrip, remount, look at that, a little dog paddle, but keep it alive. Keep it moving forward.
Just checking over the shoulder there to see where the competition, who the competition, and what the competition is doing. So fouls are into the storyland now as, again, we see Hummel back there in the number 2 spot. Where would be a good battle? I'd say that if you keep an eye on Colt Golubeski, he looks to be a rider moving up through the pack right now. We'll see if that, and also Clark Robbins turning a 3:02 that last time around. He might have been able to make some time up on Austin Schaefer, who had dropped to a 3:08.
I'm not sure if there was a pass made there or not, but if not, it looks like Hillian, man, he might be on the move as well. Looked like he was trying to close up on that number 2 position of Hummel. Finally see some caution flags flying way back there in the back. Surprised we haven't seen more so far, Rodney.
Yeah, no doubt. You got to hand it to these little guys on these 65cc machines. Not necessarily, well, necessarily because of their mud skills, but more importantly, handling it on these types of this type of course with those deep ruts and stuff like that. That's certainly, I mean, that adds an extra challenge to. Fowler still in command of this one. We're working on lap number 4. Hummel, though, the fastest rider on the racetrack that second lap around with a 2:49.431. Although he got himself in trouble pretty quick, and then in a battle with Hillen, and all of a sudden he's by himself back in the number 2 spot. We'll see if he can make up any of that 7-second gap between he and Fowler as Fowler comes through now.
Red cross flags as Fowler comes through, so keeps it on the ground there as he goes by. Young rider seems to be up, but Fowler playing by the rules there. On a yellow flag, of course, here at Loretta's, you can jump. You know, you just have to be aware. You have to jump cautiously. And on the red cross flag, you need to keep wheels on the ground.
Hummel is through now, still 6.9 seconds behind, almost an identical lap time. It was 259.525 to a 650. 1.25, I guess, 0.125 was the difference in that lap. That's splitting hairs as far as I'm concerned. So those guys, we'll call it an identical lap time nearly between Fowler and Hummel. Colby Goff in the number 3 spot. Colt Golembeski just murdering it out there as he came outside the top 20 into the top 15 to 9th place, and then bam, into the 4th place position. Canyon Richards is 5th, Austin Schaefer in 6th. There's Colt Timbo now up to 7th place. He's made some strides and some gains here in the last lap. Clark Robbins 8th, Presty 9th, Alvin Hillen now 10th place position.
Not running out quite yet, but time is starting to run down, well past halfway now in this one, coming up on 7 minutes to go. And right now I'm going to say equipment preservation, vision, and grip going to be about the 3 key things right now. Want to be able to have a good grip on that bike. Grips are starting to get muddy, gloves are, look at this. Another challenge here. I think that is back, is that somewhere around Golembeski? Is that him maybe making a move on Goff?
Might have been Schaefer making the move on Richards for that 5th place position.
All right, possibly.
That's one of our tighter races. Also, Colt Timbo working up through the pack right now as he is right behind Austin Schaefer. The 2-lap board, I believe, will be coming out this next time around when our leaders check in. And there is the number 4, our leader, Luke Fowler, making his way through that sweeper turn now, the big rolling sweeping turn. And there is Hummel right behind him. Look at that.
Well, that's what we saw then. It was Hummel and Fowler when I said, is that possibly Golembeski? That's who we saw.
Wow.
Look at this, Hummel coming at him right now.
Yep. Fowler.
With confidence.
Yeah, Fowler must have made, there he makes a mistake. If he didn't make a mistake for me before, he did there.
Look at that, pulled the clutch and very conscious not to stick his hands down in the mud, Rodney, and get covered.
Smart kid. He's ridden in the mud before, that's for sure. Hummel, now your new leader aboard the number 28, bringing this 65cc Cobra to the front of the pack. Now, what does that mean for the championship? As Fowler comes into this one with a 1-1, he's got a 10-point gap right now between what's going on the racetrack, and that's Austin Schaefer going with a 4.36. Hummel is in. Luke Fowler is in now with 5 laps. And look, only 2.6 seconds behind Hummel. I could have sworn he really made up a big push. Must have made a big push right there.
I would guess. And you know, something else, I guess Hummel was probably one of those kids down there doing the rain dance. For sure.
Quite likely. Colby Goff is in, 25 seconds back of them. 2-lap board, I believe, may be out. We've got Colt Golembeski, Canyon Richards, Austin Schaefer to check in. Check in with Colt Timbo for last lap, 7th place. We'll see if he's able to better that while we keep an eye right now on Luke Fowler, your 2nd place ride here in the 65, 10, and 11 classes. He tries to reel in the 28 of Nathan Hummel. At this point, though, you got to wonder, does he start thinking risk versus reward here and just settle for the championship at this point?
Well, I'm trying to see exactly where Hummel is.
He's about 3-4 commandments
there he is,
ahead.
right there. I see him right now. That's him coming to the inside right there above your foot. And
Fowler. Yes, my feet are kicked back. I'm kicked My feet are in the air. My ankles are swelling, man. I've been walking around for a week, 2 weeks now.
Fowler, I think, by the looks of it, just enough of a lead right there. We'll see if anything happens to Hummel, if he has anything slow him up. Well, did he just catch a foot right there in a rut? Is that Fowler closing up on him right there? Okay, well, there's your answer.
Yeah, no, that's the 18 machine. He must be, or is that the 16? Not sure, but.
Wow, these guys are muddy.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
But remarkably, I mean, with a little bit of work, you can see through the mud and still see their number plates.
Yeah.
So it's not sticking so hard. And that's another good sign that the bikes aren't getting heavy and weighed down. And likely, we shouldn't see overheating, I don't think, either.
Wet mud slides off. Tacky, dry mud sticks, gets heavy, clogs things up.
17 minutes now into this moto. The white flag coming out this time around for Nathan Hummel, the 28 machine, and Luke Fowler, who was only 2 seconds behind at the end of lap number 5 after going down from the pressure applied by Hummel. But it looked like maybe a mistake had already been made by Luke Fowler at that point that might have given Hummel the opportunity to put that pressure on and force him into the big mistake and going down. And as he rolls through the finish line doubles, I believe that is a white flag now for Nathan Hummel, checking in with 6 laps complete.
Well, it's all come down to this, Rodney. The last lap of racing at the 2019 Rocky Mountain ATV MC Amateur Motocross National Championships at Loretta, Lynn, presented by Lucas Oil.
Wow. Hard to believe we made it this far, but remember, we mentioned it on Monday and then reiterated it again on Tuesday when racing actually began, that Saturday would be here and awards presentations would be here before we knew it. We'd be meeting in the Lucas Oil Arena, crowning champions in our top 10. And lo and behold, we're just moments away from that right now as we speak. Heck, the awards presentation may have already begun for as far as we know right now. The early stages of it. Anyway, we got one rider off the side of the track. Don't know if that's one. I don't think that's one of the front runners, but one rider sucking in some water, it looks like, out there. So that might slow his progress here in this final moto. Lap times nearly a minute off from what they were under normal dry conditions. So I'm still impressed with how well these riders are traversing this track under these conditions. I mean, we had a boatload of rain dumped on this racetrack, and wow. Hey, Luke Fowler has gotten back out front. So there it is. Nathan Hummel, he hasn't even checked in for that 6th lap complete. So Fowler is going to get the sweep. He had the championship already on lockdown.
Wow.
But
awesome.
now with a 1-1-1, a clean sweep of that one, and the moto score of 3 as we check in with our leader here in the closing moments about halfway through this final lap of racing. This may be him we're catching up with. Yes, coming out of the Suzuki store, or the Storyland. Yeah, why not call it Suzuki Storyland? Honda Storyland, at least the Suzuki section of Storyland. How about that?
Luke's mom down below us here. She's been on the road all week long and cheering away. Number 4 machine coming back into sight, and as she knows, her son has the potential going 1-1-1 here, having the sweep, and all ecstatic, waving the towel down here. Awesome.
Also want to point out that Luke Fowler is an A+ student. That means that he is an academically achieved student, having a B or better average. And we salute those riders that do that. And of course, smart rider, smart riding, and taking this one home, a 1-1-1 as Luke Fowler circulates this racetrack here at Loretta Lynn's one final time in 2019 to capture the glory and the national championship at the world's biggest stage of motocross racing. Final turn, and Luke Fowler will be your 65cc 10 and 11 AMA Amateur National Champion, as he takes the win here at Loretta Lynn's. The final win of 2019, and of course wrapping up this 38th annual running of the Rocky Mountain ATV MC AMA Amateur National Motocross Championship. We'll have podium celebrations, and then we'll of course head up to the Lucas Oil Arena, where we will begin award ceremonies for our top 10 in all of our classes here for this 2019 season. Let's head on down to the podium, where I think Jason Wygant is standing by because he couldn't figure out where reverse was in megawatts side by side. Well, I'm getting some mixed results here. They're telling us they threw the checkers for the 28. I don't see the 28. Maybe a transponder issue for him, and if that's the case, then he would still, if he got the Moto win, Luke Fowler still gets the championship. So we'll do some sorting out about that, and we'll know once we get down to the podium just exactly what we're doing. Hey, Ray Butts. Also, we got a guy up here to see you up here at the announcer's tower. So we're heading down to the podium again, where we got the 28 machine on the podium. So sorry about that, Nate Hummel. Looks like you do get the Moto win, and we do apologize. As we said, we were looking at timing and scoring, and under these conditions, sometimes it can get a little confusing.
Well, it shows that we know never rely on the timing and scoring, but in a mud race, there's not much more you can rely on. You can barely see the numbers, but the one that counts is 28, because he is your Moto winner in the mud. Let's hear it for Nathan Hummel. Okay, so what was the mud race like?
Awesome.
When it was raining like that and you knew it was going to be muddy, did you think that was good or bad?
Good, because I ride really good in the mud.
So how did the Moto go? Was it actually pretty clean sailing, or did you have some falls? How'd it go?
It was good. I didn't fall once. Brakes quit working, so it's tough.
How awesome does it feel to end it like this? Pretty good?
It feels amazing. The best thing in the world.
There you go. Who do you want to thank, Nathan?
Mom, Dad, Cobra Moto, Dunlop, SSR, PR2, Scott, 60, everybody else I forgot.
Moto win for Nathan Hummel.
podium dash.
I'm going to bring Tad from the American Motorcycle Association on up, and we will hand out our final #1 plate on the podium for 2019. We do have closing ceremonies tonight, though, at the Lucas Oil Arena. So come on back here. You got one more?
Yeah. Dave Kilgore.
Dave Kilgore. Good job. Thank you, Tad, and thank you to Luke Fowler, our champion. There it is, our final #1 plate of 2019. Let's hear it for Luke Fowler.